I'm Derek Dubois, and this is week 4 inside my Criterion closet. Today's theme are early works from avowed masters of cinema. Band of Outsiders, Jean-Luc Godard, 1964. I know I keep highlighting him over and over again, but I think the French New Wave, and especially his style, is so ingrained in what I think of when I think of the power of and vitality associated with cinema. Again, Anna Karenina, if you can't tell, madly in love with her, but that freedom of movement, that the youth and joyfulness of 3 individuals kind of tearing it up around town, the power of friendship, running through museums, dancing in clubs. There's just this energy. You just want to hang out with these guys. Jim Jarmusch, Mystery Train, 1989. This film I saw in film school in a class on independent cinema. I had known a little bit about Jim Jarmusch. It was around the time, I think, when Broken Flowers was coming out. So he had been around for a while at that point. But seeing an early piece of his, that Nashville inspiration, the cross-cultural movement of you have these characters that are really into Elvis, they're coming to see Graceland, the non-actors, the reliance on musicians, this kind of alternative atmosphere. Mike Nichols, 1967, The Graduate. Is there a more perfect American comedy? I don't know. Hoffman and Bancroft, famously behind the scenes, were only a couple of years apart in their ages. What Mike Nichols does with staging and mise en scène is incredible. I've taught the scene in class where Benjamin takes Mrs. Robinson home that first evening, and she asks him to wait inside. You look at power dynamics. You look at the animal print and the jungle theme of the bar, and his moving in and out of shadow and his stammering when he speaks. I don't know that there's anything more perfect in cinema. Nicholas Roeg, Walkabout, early 1971 for him, set in the Aboriginal outback. There are startling images in here. Nicholas Roeg has always kind of evoked poetry in his visuals, but what he does here with a very young cast, most notably Jenny Agutter, is really outstanding in terms of just transporting you to another world. Kubrick, 57, Paths of Glory. He certainly had a few films under his belt by this point. This is more of an anti-war film, but still very much in the studio style. But what he accomplishes with Kirk Douglas, all that I have is this memory of him just endlessly marching through trenches, and just that nihilism and despair that is evoked. The final scene with the woman singing at the end, I believe the woman that Kubrick eventually married, will break your heart. The Game, David Fincher, 1997. I believe this is his 3rd film after Alien 3, which he essentially has disowned, and 7, which is another phenomenal film, but not yet in the Criterion collection. I'll be honest, The Game is not a film that I loved when it came out. I was only 11 years old, and I did see it, certainly far too young. But it broke so many realism conventions with just the way in which Michael Douglas is taken into this almost Hitchcockian style. The innocent man that's kind of put through this crucible of conflict. Forget about trying to make sense of the world. When you view this film as an existential nightmare, then it becomes another animal. This plus 7 is a director honing his vision and his talent, and something that I think has gotten better, at least my appreciation of it has grown with age. Alfred Hitchcock, Foreign Correspondent. This is 1940. Now I'm cheating a little bit here because this is certainly not early in Hitchcock's career. He had made dozens of films by this point, but this is his first Hollywood film. This is after him leaving the British period and coming over to America. It is a traditional Hitchcock film. It is global. It is exciting. It is filled with tension. I have been introducing my son to Hitchcock films. He's probably done 6 or 7 at this point. We haven't yet got around to Foreign Correspondent, but I think he's really going to enjoy it. Can't wait to show it to him. Now, one film that I did recently show my son, who's 9 years old, is 1957, Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men. It's adapted from the Bernard Rose play. What you have here is, absolute perfection in terms of staging, dialogue, and a solid arcing story. You have these 12 characters that are literally locked into a singular location. Becomes like a bottle episode in that respect. Then you feel how hot the day is. the fan that's not working, the windows that won't budge, the storm that eventually rolls through. So it's an expert use of kind of ramping up conflict through the environment. But this was my real introduction that a true cinematographic artist doesn't need to be flashy. Not every shot that we call attention to needs to be some giant oneer moving through the Copacabana in Goodfellas. You could have a lens plot that moves your story forward and that is subtle and nuanced, where the camera starts above the character's eye line for the first third, meets them at their eye line for the second third, and kind of goes upwards for the last third, giving these characters more and more power and strength within the frame, making the villains look terrifying and the heroes look downright noble. And then last but not least, I'm not going to pretend that I've seen every film in the universe. Cul-de-Sac, 1966, early Roman Polanski. I still haven't seen this film. I bought it in a Barnes & Noble sale some months ago. Still haven't seen it. Can't wait to get around to it. I'll keep you posted on what I think in a future video.